Are you ready to transform your life into a loving life without hatred and negative emotions? You will hear how I transform my whole life with the help of only one word, and that word is love. Please stay to the end of this video and you will find out all the tricks and secrets you will have to use to transform your life into a loving existence. Now, a word from our sponsors. "17 years ago, I was in great need of changing my life. Not only were my thoughts infected with negativity, I surrounded myself with negative people. My life was destructive and fraught with drugs, alcohol, and violence. I met a new coach when I changed my branch in my sports. He became my spiritual guide in my life. During the training, he discovered how aggressive I was. He took to my attention and asked me what my problem was. After an hour of talking, he came to the conclusion that my life was so full of hatred that I had to let go of all the hate cold turkey. He told me the only way was to start using love. I laughed straight out and I thought he must be crazy. Love is for wimps, and I was a tough guy. But there was something about this man that was so extremely believable and real that I couldn't withstand his method. He told me he would make me do some exercises to get right with the balance in my life. Please stay until the end, and then also you will find out the secret of how you can turn your life into a loving existence. I did the exercises he asked me to do, and just like he said, the first 3 days were the hardest. Day 4, everything started to feel a little easier. I began to experience a more even mood, and a mysterious happiness that I did not recognize began to creep up on me. After a little more than a week, I began to feel how my own existence of love began to spread to people around me. What I sent out came back in an instant. Then, all of a sudden, came the first dip. I began to understand what kind of people I surrounded myself with. It was a total shock to me. I talked to my spiritual guide, my trainer, and I reached out to him for answers to my problem. The answer I got was, what is your own first thought about how to solve the problem? I was ashamed of my first thoughts, but still I told him honestly, I think I should break all negative relationships. My spiritual guide replied that I was now my own master. I was true to my heart and honest to my mind, and that was the path I was to follow. I broke all negative relationships politely and smoothly without hurting anyone's feelings. After a week or so, I started to find a balance again. I continued with my exercises, and I started to feel how I mastered them now. The universal love flowed in me, and I stopped reading and watching the news, and mostly watched funny movies and series when I was watching TV. My TV viewing had been reduced by at least 70%. I enjoyed the silence, I loved hanging out with myself, and I actually started to think I was an interesting person again. After about 30 days, it was time for Christmas dinner with my family. This was the last time we had a big family dinner in my family. Normally, when my relatives met at Christmas dinner, there was a lot of negativity. Many of my relatives put each other down, poked each other with uncomfortable truths. It always ended up with several of my family members being enemies at the end of the evening. When I came in to take part in the Christmas dinner, I hugged the first person I met. It was my mother. When I hugged her, I said out loud, "Love." Loud and clear, love. My mother looked at me and she started to laugh. And then she replied, "Love? What do you mean, love?" I then replied back to her by repeating the word, love. The next person I met was my brother. He is a pure cynic. Same treatment with him. Love. He also looked at me and he started to laugh. What is his problem? I think it was that he said. And so on, the same with everyone I greeted. People started to laughing at me and I laughed with them. I spread my arms and I said out loud, "Love to everyone." Then people started to laugh even more. And they were imitating me, hugging each other and saying, "Love." They did it to make fun of me, but everyone laughed and I was happy. During dinner, of course, there was schnapps for the food. Everyone kept making fun of me, and instead of saying cheers, they said love, and they laughed out loud. This Christmas dinner was totally different than any dinner ever in my family. When people were going home and saying their goodbyes, everyone hugged each other and said Merry Christmas and love. They laughed out loud, and I was so happy with this Christmas dinner. The whole evening had passed and everyone was still friends and everyone was happy. It was the best Christmas in my life in the past 30 years. I realized the meaning of the words, the power of love. Now you have been waiting patiently, and now you will get the secret to how you will transform your life into a loving existence in just 30 days. Number 1. Every morning you wake up, sit on the edge of the bed and say to yourself 50 times, love. Repeat the words these 50 times and do it clearly and do it slowly so that you can feel each letter in the word. Love, love, love. So how do you know if you're on the right path? You know when you start to laugh at yourself or just feel that you enjoy the words. Number 2. The next exercise for the day. The first 3 strangers you meet in the streets or wherever when you leave your house, you will look them in the eyes and say quietly to yourself, love. On the 4th day, you repeat the process again, but now you look the strangers in the eyes and say out loud to the strangers, love. You should do this every day, no matter how scared you feel. In the end, you will want to tell it to more than 3 people. This is good, because after 2 weeks, you should tell everyone you meet all day for 2 weeks. Do not be afraid. No one will get angry at you. They will just feel your love. Number 3. In the evenings before going to bed, it's time for a breathing exercise. It is a form of meditation called 4-7-8 breathing technique. Lie on your back or sit in a relaxed and comfortable position. Inhale for 4 seconds so that you feel that you are filling your lungs. Think aloud for yourself, love for 7 times as you hold your breath, and then exhale completely through your mouth, making a whoosh sound to a count of 8. Take time to empty your lungs properly and then repeat the process 15 more times. A total of 16 times the exercise should be repeated. This breathing meditation should be done every night. Number 4. Replace as many of your routines as you can. Change the path to work. Change the path to your training. Do not go to bed when you come home from work. Instead of watching TV, go to the beach and watch the waves of the sea, or take a walk in the nature. If you live in the city, go to a park or a lawn. Take off your shoes and socks and walk barefoot in the grass for a few minutes. Do this a couple of times a week. This will be very helpful. The nature is therapy. Number 5. The 5th thing is more a piece of advice than it is an exercise. Try to exercise your body at least 3 times a week. If you are not a person who appreciates or can afford to go to the gym, you should at least try to get outdoors and get a 30-minute walk at least 3 times a week. It will speed up the whole process. If you take on this task that changed my life totally, write a comment and tell me how it went for you. I would love to hear about your progress. And please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to hit that subscription bell to take part in future videos. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you a wonderful life in a loving existence. Namaste.